Hello, Comp and Ret students. Welcome to another episode of Ms. Griffin's screencasting. Today I wanted to talk with you and leave you a video to kind of help you set up your intro and conclusion. And I'll try to be quick and give you plenty of time to work. So yesterday in class, many of you indicated that you had a pretty good idea of what to do, and some of you said you wanted a little bit of support. So I'm just providing this to you so that you can listen, watch, and notice things that might help you craft your intro and conclusion. Just as a reminder, you should have your intro and your conclusion complete when you come to class on Monday. So you should have a full draft ready for peer response when you come to class Monday. This is a short drafting time. I know it's a very busy time for many of you, but please push yourself to get this done so that you can get the help you need. Many of you are striving for really strong scores on this paper. And so I just want to remind you, the work will pay off, but you have to do it. So let's talk about the intro. I've got the sample paper pulled up here so that you can look at an example while I speak. I would recommend, and I'm just going to give you a second to do this right now, go ahead and take out your Chromebook and open up the sample paper on your screen so that you can read and think about this at your own pace. And I'm just going to wait a little bit. I'm totally picturing some of you like reaching in your bag, taking out your Chromebook so that I can imagine how long it's going to take. Of course, I will underestimate the amount of time it takes for you to get into Schoology and for it to load. Okay, I see some of you are getting sidetracked on your cell phones. Maybe it might be because your Google Docs isn't loading or something like that. So just make sure that you're looking at your screen, your Chromebook screen, and loading what you need to load. Okay, I just realized that Mrs. Church totally could have paused the video for this time. So I'm going to go ahead and keep talking. And if you need to pause the video, go ahead. So here's here's what you're looking for with your intro. And you actually may want to jot this down either in a comment or on a notebook. Nothing is new here, but think about those 4 ingredients of your intro: your attention getter, which I'm going to give you some pointers on here shortly, discussing both sides of the issue and setting up why it matters and why it's important, and then your thesis statement. Now, you've already written your thesis statement, so good job for you. You're finished with that step. So let's look at this sample and talk about the attention getter. I would label the attention getter here, and I'm going to tell you why this is working and what this writer did to set up the style of refutation. So she says, imagine if every individual just did things, no second thoughts, no moral conscience, and no consideration for future consequences. More specifically, imagine a world where people had sexual relations without any hesitation. In fact, this mirrors today's modern and progressive society and its views on sex. That bell was here in the video, not in your classroom. So here's what is working about this attention getter and what I would encourage you to do. One thing that you want to do is create a scenario, either with this kind of imagine idea or with an individual or a scene that your readers can imagine. And this scene ideally should be on the other side of the opposition that you're trying to prove wrong, and it should look bad in some way. So make a negative consequence occur, or set up, you don't want it to be super worst case scenario because you don't want to get into emotive language, but it's a really good idea to set up a little scenario here, and then you make it be undesirable for the reader, because the reader, especially if as they begin, it kind of makes sense or there's something desirable about it, but then you can turn it and make the reader see, oh, wait a second, that might not be good. You're setting them up perfectly for your refutation, because that's the mindset you want them in as they approach your paper is, okay, what if this happened? Ooh, maybe this isn't exactly what I want. Okay, I'm not going to read to you this whole intro because you have seen many an intro throughout the semester. But I want you to think basically from here to here, this writer is going back and forth between the two sides, setting up one side and then coming back and countering it with what's wrong with that side. So you're setting up two sides here and why they are in opposition. Setting up why they're in opposition helps your reader understand why the issue is important, and then you're getting to your thesis statement that you've written. So think about those ingredients as you craft your intro and really work, again, to create that attention getter that is a feasible scenario or situation that we can picture that is not quite right and is not something desirable. That will help your reader be in the mindset of refutation. Okay? Then you're going to have your 3 beautifully written body paragraphs that expertly prove the other side wrong. And now let's get to the end. Okay, so your basic format for your conclusion is I would say think about it as 4 components. Number 1, you're going to restate your thesis. Try to restate it in a different way. I would still probably lead with the concession and move into the assertion, but just try to use different words so that you're not saying exactly the same thing again. Then you're going to go into the points that you broke down. And if you can add a little bit to them to kind of tie them together or show why the logic is not working, that's your goal. Okay? You don't need to go through every single fallacy. In fact, at this point in your paper, you're still using that, lack of logic, or you're still using some of the reasons why this doesn't hold up, but you're moving away from fallacy language because you want to end with this paper being on your side and proving for what you think. So here's the couple sentences that help turn it back to your side. While premarital sex has ancient roots and seems aloof in society, many advocates for premarital sex justify it on the grounds that experience results in successful marriages. However, so many things make a marriage successful. Therefore, sex cannot directly cause success, nor can it directly cause a failed marriage either. So here we've got addressing the other side and the logic. She's not going through every single thing she said. She's just saying, here's where we started, and here's what the other side says. And then this sentence is what makes, I think, this conclusion really strong. We're turning it slightly to the other side. Okay, here's the problem with that argument. And it's almost sitting in the middle. So sex cannot directly cause success, nor can it directly cause a failed marriage either. It's finding a little bit of balance between the sides before heading into what's good about my side. Okay. And before you come back to your attention getter, you really want to argue for your side. You haven't had a chance to do this yet. You don't want to bring in really specific ideas that you would need evidence to back them up because you obviously don't have time to do that, but you're just kind of digging in your final reasons. Again, be persuasive, but do not start adding other fallacies by adding emotive language or by appealing to pity and fear. Stay neutral, stay academic, but argue for your side. Okay, and then do a return to your attention getter. So this is a light return to attention getter. Think twice and consider morals and future consequences. Do not just do it. Well, that's really nice. Clinch your sentence, particularly with this paper. But we started with, imagine a world where these things don't matter. Now we come back to they do matter. So that's what brings the ending full circle back to the beginning. Okay, so you know how to do this. These are all the same sort of ingredients of the intro and conclusion that you've put in, especially your ethical controversy. So you can totally do this. Just you may want to brainstorm some of those scenarios or examples you might use to have a really strong attention. So happy writing. Remember, you're really close. The more you get done in class today, the less you'll have to do over the weekend. And I really look forward to seeing your final products on Monday.